Hi, I'm Daniel, and it's Ashville Weekly, episode 115. Monday morning, I'm at Heathrow Airport, and Shook Ute Productions has collected me. The time is 5:26, and he's carrying on scared because it is 1 degree and it has been snowing. Now, this has thrown a bit of spanner in the works because I only flew into the country for a meeting, and I've had a message come through to my phone. They're not sure if they can make it to the meeting. Depends how bad the roads are. By the time everything settles and the salt eats up the snow on the roads, the meeting will go ahead as planned. Otherwise, I've just flown in for absolutely no reason, and I could have flown to my next destination. To the yard. Forward, Wilson.
Forward.
The yard looks like something out of a Christmas movie, and I am not dressed accordingly. I'm going to run into the video office, and because of all the trouble I had with internet and Wi-Fi, I'm going to quickly offload the footage from this DJI so the boys can get on with putting together the footage from South Africa and merge it with what they filmed last week in the yard. I just had a message from Matt, who was going to fly in from Zurich, but his flight has been cancelled. Unfortunate. When I was on the plane and I was checking and trying to prepare for today, I realized that Sam sent through renders for the staircase for the meeting later. That's gone all the way from concept to problem solving to discuss the structure, the landing, and gone through 2 levels of design. So hopefully the meeting goes ahead later and hopefully the client approves it. Time is 6:08. And it's 0 degrees. Just near the entrance, one of the grab lorries is parked up here. I think he's just waiting for the lorry to warm up a bit more before he heads out on the road. I'm gonna head to my house, try and drop my suitcases off, have something to eat, have a shower, and get back on the road again. Fridge is open. 7:55. And a load of clothes is nearly finished. Gonna hang that up, put another one in, head out the door. I started pulling out some stuff for Austria because I checked the weather and it's colder than it is here. So a couple of jackets, thermals, changed some of the trainers I had for darker ones because they're gonna get absolutely ruined. Just making sure before I leave here, everything is in place. Land Rover doesn't open till 8:30, so I can't get there yet. So I'm gonna knock up some eggs and avocado because I need some nutrition because this is a long day, and the trainers arrived. Looks to all be fixed. Completely new system, and I'm gonna have to set it all up from scratch. I'm gonna do that before I hit the road. Look at this, boy. Tezza and Shane running off. Where you going, man?
Weatherspoons for a bit of breakfast and then a few pints.
Is it? Is it? Man, just right, man actually left, you know. All right. Right, imagine that I'm pulling into the yard and Terry and Shane are just driving off. That's nice, isn't it? What's happening in the yard? Let's have a look, see.
About 6 lorries parked up here.
What lorries? Our lorries?
Our lorries waiting to get out, trains not been split. Just because it's been that busy, like, do you know, because everyone's cancelled work today.
Simon is telling me the complications this morning. We couldn't get in the yard, then all the boys came back with shingle, then we couldn't load. The tip is closed, so I guess the guys have had to rearrange all the work. There's lorries backed up, the lads can't tip, they can't load, they can't do anything. We are open though, Si?
Yes, that's it, we are.
We are open.
Keep going.
Now we do have a heater in the water tower. I'm not sure if the actual pipes are frozen. Let's go and have a look, see how Ollie's getting on. How are we doing?
Frozen.
Frozen?
Yeah. Pipeline along the back.
Ollie's saying that the water in the tank is fine, but the pipe along the back, there's 2 metal 90-degree elbows and those froze. But it looks like there is some water coming out now. I'm just doing final checks before the meeting. Everything is in place. I have come from South Africa. Jonathan has come from Scotland, and Dudek has come from upstairs. The time now is 11:26. They will be here just before 12. We just finished the steelwork on this floor, and we're removing all the support. So by the time the client comes through in a minute, they should walk in and be like, wow. When you come in the door, if you look straight up again, because the temporary roof is on, the roof has been stripped as well. Will, give us a pan. Finishing the last bits of the structural work. The wall over here is nearly bricked up. On the first floor, all the walls are gone. And of course, so is the roof. what we've started to do for the client, we've got white markings on the floor so they can get the size of the room. So the master suite starts at this wall here. So everything on this side is the master suite, and then we have the bedrooms here, and a staircase fits in here to go up to the new loft, what we'll start constructing in the next few days. The meeting with the client went as good as it could possibly go. We got answers, the size of the spaces was agreed, walk-in wardrobe. The stuff we need to start putting into production is all agreed, and some of the features of the lighting where we're gonna have the drop-down recesses, that's all agreed. A lot of the fabrics and furnishing wasn't agreed, but that doesn't matter because we've got so much to build before that point, that can be next time. The render of the bathroom, remember I was saying previously, I was worried about that bathroom because I didn't want to put a tile on the ceiling, but I wanted to match what was on the ceiling and the wall, but that was until David showed me this. So it's like a mosaic. Now I'm happy to put this mosaic on the ceiling. So now therefore, we're gonna be using this on the ceiling and the wall. It will all match up and that will look perfect. And the bathrooms were agreed, which is excellent, because now after we do the underfloor heating, the guys will take over and start building up the walls. Then Chris can go into the separate bathroom areas after he's run the main piping and waste in the entire house, and he can start running the pipe work to where the taps, the mixers and the shower heads are gonna be, and we can get Chris some help and he can jump between bathroom to bathroom, instruct people, move on to another one. So that went well. I am happy with that. Sent some emails following up the meetings we had earlier. Because the client chose the internal doors they want, and a lot of those doors are glass, and layout of the ground floor, we are worried about what's going to happen with building control and fire regs, but I think I've got a way around it. So where the kitchen is, you always have to make sure that the rest of the house has got 30 minutes to get out of the house in the worst case scenario if there's a fire. On one half of the house where we have bifold doors opening up the lounge area, we have a kitchen there. But on the other side of the house, we have a set of stairs. We have to ensure now that those internal bifold doors, if they are 30-minute fire and the other doors are 30-minute fire, and that creates like a complete cutoff from the kitchen area, then we should be all right. As long as in the kitchen we got a heat detector, smoke detectors on every level, and because we got the loft, we need to make sure that we got those pulleys so the doors pull closed. But other than that, I think that is the only building control challenge that we're gonna have on that project. The staircase design, we've moved it on a bit, but now I've been told we need to speak to the engineer because the fabricating company aren't sure if the stairs can support itself. I can't blame them because the stair company didn't design the staircase. We designed it, and now we've got them to say, can they make it? And they've said yes, I've just got it approved. Now they're saying they don't know if it can support itself. So we need to speak to an engineer and see if what the engineer thinks, because we may not be able to just put it on the ground floor slab and then connect it to the slab on the first floor. But my initial thoughts are the first floor landing level, we can put a couple of steels there. If we don't want to touch the walls, we can put like a box frame steel underneath where no one would see, and we could put one as far out as we can coming into the hall, so it doesn't detract from the beauty of the hallway, but hopefully this can take all the weight. I have a Zoom coming up at 5 with Matt and Louise, our CFO, because Matt's flight got cancelled. I need to go home and hope my clothes have dried because I'm heading off to Austria, and I might try and run downstairs quickly now. And I have given Jay some changes to episode 113. There's a couple of parts that I thought needed more explanation and a voiceover I need to record. And I also need to catch up with Terry. I haven't had a chance to talk with Terry, and Terry looks like he's having a bit of a bad day. He was laughing and joking earlier, but spoke to him a few times and he sounded a bit upset. I want to know why. Because we like Tezza to be happy at work. Man, it's a mad nostril filming. I'm in the yard. Wilson is in the car with me. I'm just coming over to look at these ground slabs quickly. Looking at them, it looks like they are all going to fit together and slot into each other. We've built up quite a little selection of them there, but looking at the spaces that we need to fill, I don't think that we've nearly got enough, so I think we're going to continue over next week as well, because the roll-on roll-off isn't crazy busy collecting these, and hopefully when we put them down and we fill the gaps in, there can be much flatter surfaces. We are heading to the airport. The time is 11:50. And I'm meant to be there at 12, which means I'm running late. What is the plan for tomorrow for you in my absence?
I'm going to the Refurb Project to get some handheld footage and offload some time lapses. Then I'm going to the Bathroom Project, where we're also doing the Control 4 system, and me and Bartusz.
Bit louder. You and
Bartusz.
yes.
We're going to be pulling some cables.
It's like going to take a couple of days. You need to go back after and start doing networking and connecting and.
Yeah, maybe 2 days.
Do you know what? Tomorrow lunchtime, Bartek will not be there because my mum's oven has stopped working, and Bartek needs to go and check on my mum's oven. Just know that you're going to lose him for like 2 hours then.
Sure.
More than likely the oven's dead and I'm going to have to order a new one, but Bartek will check it. If it is dead, he's going to have to get the correct dimensions, because what I tend to do is order first and think later, and then I'll order some oven, or the best oven, but one that doesn't fit or one that's not compatible. Bartek will let me know tomorrow. To the airport. Put this on a minute while I get my bags out.
Put this on?
Yeah.
It's probably the same size as mine.
Why would it be the same size as yours?
It is.
Nah. What are you saying, you're hencher than me?
I'm just saying that.
What are you saying, you're hencher than me? Turn around. How can that fit you the same as it fits me?
It's the same size.
Nah, it can't be the same size.
Right. We'll do
No. All
comparison.
right, let me get my suitcases out. These things are so heavy, man. But obviously where man's hench is nothing. Ugh. Why are you buying the jacket in my size? Who rocked it better? Daniel or Shook You Productions? Ashville at Terminal 5, officially. I've got my phone, I've got my money.
Passport.
I've lost everything! No joking, yeah. Yeah, I've got my passport. No flexing in my whip. See you later, Wilson. Oh my goodness, it is so busy here. Done my driver. It's kind of chilly, man. And now the 2-hour drive to Austria begins. I didn't go to the hotel because the production team are eating, and they said meet us here after, but then I thought I'd miss the food. And I ain't going missing the food. So I'm on road with my suitcases, pushing them around, looking for this restaurant, which I will find. And then I have to work out the hotel later. Decent, not bad. While sampling the local cuisine, the schnitzel, forgive me if my pronunciation's not right, production team filled me in, and I'm only staying here for one night. Got to take my bags with me tomorrow. We're gonna film. End of the day, we're going to Italy. I'm gonna be in Italy for 2 days. Then I'm gonna leave Italy and come back here and spend another 2 days here. And then I'm not sure where I'm going after that. But because of the nature of what we're filming, we need to keep jumping across the borders. I'm gonna do a bit more exploring in the hotel, set up my chargers and everything, but I can't unpack as I like to. I like to have order. There must be organization. I like to unpack everything. Even if I'm not gonna use it, line my shoes up, put my toiletries everywhere, hang up my clothes to let some of them creases fall out. Everything unpacked as if I've moved in. Then I can focus on what I'm doing, and you know, there's some structure, but not here. This is gonna be one night at a time on the road. It's 6 a.m. Gonna pack up all my stuff and get out of the hotel. I was laid in bed for a little while sending some emails because the client meeting I had at the refurbishment project, I remember that they asked me to put forward a proposal for the pool house. Now, we haven't done any work on the pool house as of yet, but the client would like to create a space where they also have a gym that's a lot bigger, but then merge the outside with inside. So we're going to have to include a lot of bifold doors like we've done on the main house. But the client would also like to have a reasonable sized gym, because previously the basement had a gym, but the gym now needs to be located at the pool house. But the pool house needs to look like a miniature version of the main house. It's got to be completely in keeping and kind of complement the house. So we're going to put that proposal together, but it's not 2 minutes, because firstly our architect has to draw it. In order to provide an accurate price, our structural engineer has to let us know what size of the steels, and then we can work out what the steels are going to cost. It's got to go to our window supplier, and then we need to speak to Craig again, like the last time when he came and visited me in my office, and talk about how we're going to handle the air. There's air conditioning, then there's the labour it's going to take us to build the actual structure, all the temporary towers we're going to need, everything that we've got to rent, the excavation, how much muck's got to go out of there, how much materials, you know. There's so much to do in order to provide the client with an accurate cost. Jonathan's going to get involved, and he's going to help us with the renders that you saw before as well. So we can say, look, this is what it cost, and this is what's going to look like. Do we have a thumbs up or a thumbs down? Now, generally on a project, I wouldn't do that, because, you know, the client can just take it elsewhere and do it with someone else. But this client has showed that that is not how they behave. That's not what they do. And they actually really like working with us, and we're enjoying working with them. They've already done the main housework. So as a gesture, we're just going to move forward with doing this proposal. If they do it, they do it. If they don't, it's just a cost we're going to have to absorb, and we're going to have to take that as like a, you know, a speculative investment. Sometimes they pay off, sometimes they don't. Time for me to get down to reception. That is so beautiful. I've just gone from South Africa at 32 degrees to -5, or whatever it is here. Now, as a tropical people, that is extremely challenging. And just putting my arm out the window just there to get those shots, my arm nearly froze off, like that show with that train that keeps going at the end of the world. Like, you know, they stick your arm out if you've stolen some of the food. So my arm nearly froze and came off there. It's so beautiful here, and there's so much going on. Like there's so much work happening, but I can't help. At the moment I've got one part of my mind on the refurbishment project still, because in the meeting there's just a few things which are open. Like, we didn't agree the kitchen. I was just trying to strategize how we're gonna attack the kitchen, because with lead times at the moment, we could have lead times of 16 weeks, which we have time for, but all the electrics and plumbing and everything's got to be in place, because if the client decides in the middle of the island they want services, they want it to be wet, or they want to have gas, or there's going to be an induction hob, that we need to prepare for that now, because sooner or later the underfloor heating's going down and we need to screed over the top of it. I think we just have to agree the layout at this point, then we can put the services in place. Then we're going to have to revisit all the options with the kitchen, but at the moment the kitchen seems to be the thing that when you put it in front of the client, it's a bit overwhelming, because there's so much information like this, so it's a bit hard to knuckle down what's what. So we're going to concentrate on the layout for now. Let's get back to this lovely scenery. After an epic day of filming, I arrived in Italy, and what a room. I actually feel bad coming in here in my dirty work boots, but it's an occupational hazard. Look at this. What a room. I'm really happy with that, and it's given me ideas for the refurbishment project. Time now is 7:39. We're going to have dinner at 8:30, and I see that Terry has called me as well, so I need to call him back and see how today went. Managed to catch up with Terry. He had a good day in the yard, plenty of promising meetings happening. I'm about to watch through some footage what the video team sent me of my time in South Africa, and as I'm doing it, I'm staring at this bathtub. It's just not my thing, man. Like, sitting in the bathtub, it's just gonna make me really hot, and then I ain't gonna be able to sleep, and I've got an early call time in the morning. But one thing that is my thing is today at the yard, my turnstile arrived. I managed to buy a second-hand turnstile container. Now you might think, what's he doing with all this now? He keeps buying all this stuff and he ain't doing anything with it. I have a plan, and this turnstile is part of that plan. This would mean if the yard got bigger or if we moved the yard ever so slightly, I could section off areas and everyone who came through the yard for pedestrian access, not vehicle access, would have to go through a turnstile, what would make the yard a lot more secure. 7 a.m, ready to leave the room. Now I showed you the room last night, but I didn't actually have a look at it properly. You're seeing all this, but here's what I didn't realize. Other than steamy windows. Hold up. Look at this. Every time I travel to film the show, there's something different what I enjoy about that destination. What? Tipper? And thus far, being in Austria and Italy, like right next to the Alps, I've really enjoyed the hotels and the view. Like, I'm genuinely enjoying being here. I don't like sleeping in strange beds and it really affects my sleeping. But I really like the beauty of this place. It's not hot, it's freezing cold. But even as a tropical people, as you well know, I really like it here. That is the production team down there, loading up the Vito. My call time is slightly later than theirs, but I'm gonna go down and help them anyway. I haven't spoken to anyone in London about Ashville stuff as of yet. I got on top of everything I possibly could last night. So at the moment, I bet that freezes over sometimes. I really like this place, man. No, he has a space here. Right, I'm on a bit of a mission here. We finished filming a couple of hours ago. I'm feeling really bad about the way I'm eating. And there's a gym I found on Instagram and on Google, which is across the road. Now we're trying to find the entrance to this gym, but I think this guy's a personal trainer who trains people in his garage. But look, the man's van is here. Now we're trying to find this gym. And we're walking around and we can't find it. Sorry, excuse me. Sorry, do you speak any English?
A little bit, yeah.
The gym, this gym, where is it, the gym?
The gym, there is not a gym.
This guy with this van here, he says he has a gym here?
No.
No? No gym?
No gym.
All right, thank you.
Right.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, no, we're not going to give up. I'm going to call this guy, man.
You got a number?
I mean, I didn't want to just be calling off his phone and I don't know him, but let's try, man. We've got nothing to lose.
Sorry, the selected number is inactive. To seek a number, call 1254.
No, I'm getting mugged off here. He says number's not working. Well, this is him. We can't find him. Should we try the back? Is he down here? No, he's not in the drains. Right, look at that skip. Hey, look, that's a small skip, isn't it? Well, Michael O'Donovan, I think you left one of your 8-yard skips here. It's ringing, it's ringing, it's ringing. We're in the game, it's ringing. Let's hope he speaks English. This guy's got us in -5 on road, chasing around trying to find his gym.
Risponde la segreteria telefonica di 348.
I just saw an elderly gentleman, must be way into his 80s, and I said, excuse me, would you happen to know where the gym is? He said,
100 metres up there on the left.
the wild goose chase continues. We have not been successful, and now it started snowing. So we did go up the road where the elderly gentleman sent us, but by the way he chuckled, I think he was having us on, because he sent us to the supermarket. And we came back, and we managed to gain entry to the building, had a look around, still can't find the gym, but we can see his van. Didn't answer the phone, didn't answer to a DM on Instagram. It's not like South Africa, I can't train outside. This is -5. What can I do, man? I tried. Thought we were going to get some training in. And just a note to everyone, don't just think like in England you're going to walk on the zebra crossing and people will stop, because that doesn't happen here. You need to watch what you're doing before you put your foot out on the zebra crossing, because people will not stop, they will just keep driving. Friday morning, and I'm on my balcony. And the view is still epic. I've got this thing that I'm doing now. I don't turn on the lights in the room, and I just leave my curtains open, and use the natural light to wake me up in the morning and light the room. Last night after my gym escapade, I went out and had something to eat with the crew, and I got back to the hotel and then I started checking my emails. But when I did check them, there were so many and I had so much to do that it was a long night. I didn't get to bed till about 1:30 because I felt I needed to address everything. Now I have a rule that I don't go into important meetings like when I'm really hungry, because I'll try and agree to something just to get out of the meeting, or I'll cut the meeting short and something may not be resolved. But I have another rule what I didn't abide by myself is to not to send emails in the spur of the moment when you're angry, because decisions made in anger often not great ones. Some of the emails I read and some of the things I saw which were going on, I had to address them immediately, and there was no quick way to clear my mind. And now I've read back the emails I sent last night. I'm not really bothered about it. Sometimes in business, it can be so confrontational. Like the entire time you've got this person over here trying to pull a fast one. Instead of admitting what they're doing, they want to draw you into long correspondence and use really big and smart words and try and tie you up and talk about solicitors and talk about a bunch of things they don't have the capability or the power or the resources to do, but they'll drag you into the correspondence. And there was about 4 or 5 people doing that. My team were kind of getting involved in that, and I had to kind of step in, try and send one email and then send instructions to everyone that was like, no, stop doing that, pack it in. When you get into a disagreement or there's an area which is grey, you kind of need to try and work out as quickly as possible, what do I want out of this? What is the end result that I want? And the words and smart emails that I'm writing, am I just trying to win? And when I say win, am I trying to get the better of the person? Am I just playing the game of people? Because if I'm playing the game of people, I'm wasting my time. Because ultimately, that's more about ego and emotion and just trying to beat the other person. It's business. So what do you want? What do you want at the end of this? And how much money are you willing to throw at it? Because nobody ain't gonna do it for free. So if you work out that in the end, this is what you want, and there's no chance that's going to happen, or there's a quicker route to doing it, for me, the best thing to do is just get to the point, and instead of dancing around the houses, get the map and put a ruler on it and just draw a straight line to where you're trying to get to. And if you can't get there, then you're going to know pretty quickly. My emails were sent. I'm an hour ahead here of London. I haven't had any responses, so we'll see what happens and who gets back to me. And I'll try and call my team. And I'm being told there's a problem with the hitch on the 926 and Liebherr are trying to fix it. I've jumped out the car and I'm admiring all the mountains and the Christmas trees on the way to the set. I should really hurry up and get to set because of my call time. I tell you here, there are no excuses. Yeah? It snowed all last night. There was a blizzard. Everything's still going. There's loads of trucks on long haul. There's trains right next to the trucks. There's cars, there's vans. Industry continues. There are no excuses. Oh, there's a Defender. Nice. This is one of the places that I visited while filming the TV show that I would definitely revisit, and the hotel also. I have skied in my life, but you know those guys who go skiing and they've got all the gear and no idea, and they're snowplow, snowplow, snowplow. The next thing you know, I fall over and go and hurt myself or something like that, and I'm on crutches. So I think I'm gonna allow the skiing, but I may go on a couple of adventures or a couple of hikes or a couple of walks, but I will definitely be returning to the Alps. Now look how long this train is. I can now not see the front or the end of this train. At last we see the end of the train. Oh, and another train. And you know that I am into trains. That is what you call a freight train. Or now that amount of wagons wouldn't fit in the Ashville yard, and I've got no way to offload anything on them, but I'm working on it. I spy with my little eye. Hey, that is what I'm talking about. Look at those. I'm gonna be honest, I have never driven one of those, and I don't know a lot about these. Who can tell me what these are and what these do, or how old they are? These are cool. Who's gonna tell me what they are and what they do? What general industry? Look at this man, he's flying. It's the second cement truck in 2 minutes. Clearly there's a batch plant around here somewhere. It's Saturday, and I'm on the road again. I'm now traveling from Italy to Austria. It's a wrap for the 5th episode, and making my way back to Austria because tomorrow morning I'm going to be flying out of Munich and heading back to London. I spoke to Terry not long ago, and sorry Terry, man. Terry had a really bad end to the week. So basically in the yard, a lot of the pipes are freezing because we didn't get round to putting lagging on a lot of them. And Terry said he could hear a noise under Chimek's desk. And he thought, what is that? Well, there's a water pipe underneath Chimek's desk. And on Saturday afternoon, the water pipe bursts and Terry couldn't find the stopcock. And I imagine the floor in the office is completely soaked and Terry's hands are absolutely freezing, but I believe he salvaged it. A little while ago, I spoke about the Rams on the LH60 and how new Rams were going to be £10,000, and I was like, that's too much money, I'm not paying it. Well, we've managed to get a price to repair the Rams, which is less than a quarter of that price. So we're going to get the Rams fixed, get them put back on, and we're going to bring the bucket back to the yard, and then we're going to buy some bolts and we're going to change the cutting edges round. Sometimes people look at the cutting edge on the LH60 bucket and they think it's very worn because they look at the two ends and there's like a little bit missing. That doesn't mean the bucket's too worn, because we need the cutting edge to be that shape because of this shape on the inside of the wagons. So when we get the bucket back, we'll judge whether we need to change it just yet, because the new cutting edge we put on, or when we turn the cutting edge, straight away, until it manages to take that shape, it's going to have a little bit of difficulty cleaning out the bottom of the wagons. Just had some food with the team, and someone asked a question.
How do your friends feel about you doing an international TV show?
It's a good question, and I don't really have a lot of people around me at the moment, but the friends I do have are dear to me, and they all encourage me a lot. And we have a saying, when you grow, I grow, which basically means if one of us is doing a little better at one point, then it brings the rest of us along. So if something's going to explode for you and you're going to get 100%, just by default, I'm going to grow as well. I'm going to get 10, 15 or whatever it is, and we all try to take each other on the journey as best we can, you know, because there were times when people were doing better than I was and they were bringing me along with them. So thankfully I'm in a position now when I'm moving forward that I can bring some of them along the journey with me. So I'm quite happy about that. I will now continue my journey to the hotel, admiring the scenery in Italy and Austria, and I most definitely will be coming back here again. I'm in the car on the way to the airport, and I'm working away on my phone. Now, I managed to fall asleep yesterday and forgot to charge my phone, so my battery's going to die, and the driver has a phone of a different manufacturer with a different charger. Fuming. But while I have had some battery life, I've been working on the list that I'm going to send to the video team so they can attack it hard tomorrow, even though I will be in. I like to send it to them on a Sunday, so in their heads they can have a think about what they're going to do, they can plan it out, and by the time they get to their desk they already know the direction they're going in. And I sent a job offer out. So Terry's been having some conversations with somebody that we believe will be an asset to the business and bringing them on. Now, there are a number of ways I could have done that job offer. I could have waited till I was in front of a computer tonight. I could have put it on a Word document, and I could have put a section at the bottom to sign it. I could have done that, but I was thinking in my head, oh well, a bigger company would have probably done that, and one of those MDs who only works between 9 to 5 at a corporate establishment, they would have probably done it a bit different, so maybe I should follow protocol. No, it's not the way I want to do it. I'm filming for a TV show, I'm in another country, and Ashville moves with the times. We work on the go, and we are always hustling. So I took the contents that would have been in the document, I sent in an email and I just slightly adjusted the bottom of it, and I said, if you have any queries or if you'd like to discuss any element in further detail, please let us know. If you wish to accept this offer of employment, please let me know by email, and a full document for signing will be drafted. Probably not what the individual's used to, but it will achieve the same desired effect, and it will kind of give them an insight into the fact that, because they know I'm away, so it'll give them an insight into the fact that Ashville are dynamic and how we work on the go and how we're always making things happen. Getting an email on Sunday at 10 a.m. What on earth is he doing? I have no idea. Why he's cleaning the propellers on the engine. Who can tell me why?
Currently working through my list on the plane. Of course the Wi-Fi isn't working properly, but you know, I got enough I can do, and as soon as I land it will start sending. Bartek went round to my mum's to check the problem with the oven, and there's a part that's needed. So Bartek and Vesh are going to deal with that first thing Monday morning, because I need my mum's oven to be working. Not in a selfish way, but Christmas is coming. I had some news through, and episode 6 of the show I'm filming will be filmed in LA. I have the news of exactly where it's going to be filmed, but I can't show that. So second week of Jan, I'm going to be going to LA, and more good. No, I'm fine, thank you. And more good news, the network asked the production company to prepare a small reel. So they prepared a reel of like about 5 minutes of the best bits from the first 5 that we filmed, and apparently the feedback was really positive and the network were really excited. So that's fantastic, and it's the first time that I've actually seen the footage of what I'm doing. I haven't actually seen it myself. I've been doing it but haven't seen it, so watching it I was like, is that me? Wow, that's me. I can't believe that's me. Also last night after I filmed, I had to spend about an hour and a half on the phone doing voiceover. Now voiceover is my least favourite thing about doing TV. I had to read from a script, and I was on the phone to the head of the production company, and I'm doing voiceover for the edit, but it's not the final voiceover. For the final voiceovers, I'll have to go to a proper studio, but in order to push the edit along and get the network to approve it, I had to do it. But, you know, it's one of them things you have to get used to. My favourite thing is to actually be involved in projects and working alongside people, meeting new people, going to different sites and learning. But, you know, you got to take the rough with the smooth. As I'm here, the World Cup final is actually being played. I must be the only person, and the people on this flight who aren't watching. Sorry. The World Cup final. I don't really mind who wins. I'm impartial, but I know that I've got work to do. So I'm landing about an hour. I'm going to use the rest of my time properly.
Heathrow is really busy, and there's a problem with the baggage. I'm sitting in the airport on a trolley watching extra time of the World Cup final on my phone, and it's raining outside and it's miserable. This is the other side of traveling a lot and trying to run a business at the same time. Oh man.
Took an hour to get my bags, and now the World Cup final gone to penalties. At last, after another day of travel and work on the go, I have made it back to the yard, and that's it for Ashville Weekly, episode 115. Click here for the Ashville website. Click here to subscribe to our channel. Click here to see an Ashville video you may not have seen before, and click here for last week's episode, which was number 114.